Guys, if you watch to the end, I'm going to give you a special little coupon code that you guys can use to purchase Relo Academy at a discounted price. So make sure you listen until the end to get your coupon code. Hey, what's up, car shipping rock stars? It's your girl Ashley from Relogeek.com, and on today's podcast, I'm answering the question as to whether or not you can make money in 2019 as an auto transport broker and how. I have been getting asked this question a lot lately. A lot of people are concerned that the brokering industry is way too saturated, so they're wondering whether or not you can make money. And the short answer is yes, you can. You just have to be smart about how you go about building your business, how you go about running your business. But definitely, you can make money in 2019 as a broker. So obviously you didn't tune in just to hear yes. You want to know the practical way to do that. And I'm going to give you the solution. It's two things. One, you need to build a brand, and two, you need to build a business. Now, a lot of you guys are going to think that they're one and the same, but they are two totally different things. It's more important now than ever to build an auto transport brand as you're going into 2020. Okay, so we're in 2019 right now, but as you're going into 2020, you're going to want to make sure that you've built a brand, not just a business. Now, I'm not going to go into how to build a business on this podcast because, drum roll please, I have an auto transport broker training course that does that for me. That's going to teach you how to start and run an auto transport broker business from the ground up. So if you know absolutely nothing about auto transport brokering, whether you've started your business, whether you're a freight broker, whether you're nobody in the auto transport or freight industry, and you're just a regular average Jane or Joe, Relo Academy can help you to figure out how to build your business and run your business. Okay, so that's business. But what is it about brand? And by the way, before we get into that, I'm going to leave a link to Relo Academy below. If you're interested in joining, you just go to shipmorecars.com/Relo Academy and you can join the course there. So let's talk about building an auto transport brand and why it's important. But before I get into that, what is a brand? If you know what a brand is, then you can fast forward this. But if you don't know what a brand is not just your logo. A lot of people, when I tell students that they need to build a brand in 2019, they automatically assume that when I say brand, I mean a logo and a website. No, your brand is how you make people feel. And throughout this podcast, which is going to be quite long because we have a lot to cover, you're going to hear me talk about feelings a lot. But ultimately, your brand is how you make customers and potential customers feel about your business. So to build a brand, there are 6 key steps that you need to take. Now, these steps can be extended into more than that, but for the purpose of this podcast and keeping it quite short, I'm giving you the fundamentals of what it takes to build an auto transport brand. And remember, it's how you make somebody feel. So without further ado, let's hop right on into that. Number 1, you need to choose a target market. What is a target market? Okay, your target market is a group of people that you want to do business with. You can go and choose based on who you think is going to be the best source of income. You can go and choose based on your experience. You can go and choose based on eeny, meeny, miny, mo, if that's what you're into. But you need to choose a market, and here's why. When I started my auto transport business, it wasn't as saturated as it is now, okay? But when I started my business, it still felt like there were so many people. And so what I did was I chose a market. I chose a lot of different markets at first to experiment just to see which one gel with me because I had no idea on how to choose a market. And when I chose that market, I was able to break through the noise. I was able to rank in Google in the number one spot, which everybody wants. I was able to bring in my own auto transport leads, and I was able to convert the people that came to my website a lot easier. Now, I did purchase leads, and I was able to convert those leads over the phone as well, which I talk about in my first class package over at Relo Academy. But it still all boils down to building a brand. Everything becomes part of this brand that you're building. So once you choose a market, it's powerful. And I mean, like I said, you could choose a market in those three different ways. I don't suggest eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and I don't really suggest chasing the money, because in that case, everybody's going to be like, well, I want to chase athletes, or I want to chase celebrities, or I want to do enclosed cars and millionaires. It's not necessarily that it's going to bring you the most money just because it's a high paid market. What I suggest you do is find either an intersection between what you have experience in and what you really want, like what you have interest in. So even if you don't have experience in something, what you have interest in. And let me give you an example. An example would be military auto transport, right? And we're going to use this same example throughout, but let's just say you are an ex-military man or woman and you have experience in it. Or maybe you're like me and you have an entire family full of airmen, sailors, and lieutenants and whatnot. Then maybe military might be great for you. So then you choose that. That would be your target market. Or maybe you're an accountant, and this, you guys are going to really think that this is crazy, but it can go as deep as you're an accountant and you have experience in that, and maybe you want to choose a target market of accountants, and that's who you want your market to be. Now, I don't suggest going that specific, but you still can work it. There was a person that I was helping who was a doctor. So they built their brand around that. And it's not that they catered necessarily to doctors. They just built their brand around the idea of the doctor's market, right? So with that being said, you choose your market. Next up, we're going to talk about number 2 is your brand name. So once you've chosen your market, your next step is to choose a brand name that can resonate with said market. Now, the brand name, I don't want you guys to just choose things like military auto transport, because like I said, we're going to stick with the example we used in the first, in the market example. So say you're marketing to military personnel. I don't want you to just say, oh, my company name is Military Auto Transport. No. Okay, that is too generic. You want something that stands out, that's going to resonate. Remember, you're trying to make your audience, your target market, your target client, your ideal client, whatever you want to call it, you're trying to make them feel something, right? So the key to that is choosing a name that resonates with them. And I just, as an example, or is going to say, like, maybe you want to call it Soldier Moves, right? Great play on words, like the soldier is moving, so you could name it Soldier Moves. Or maybe Sailor Transport. It's just a play. It's better than saying military. If you say something like Soldier Moves, people are not going to forget that. They're not going to forget that. So, hey, and check and see if it's available. If that's your market, hey, maybe soldiermoves.com is available. And that's another thing. Military auto transport is not going to be available because people are going to take that. So you really want to choose something that's unique, right? So once you have your brand name, the next step, number 3, is your color palette. So again, you need to, and I'm putting these in order for a reason, okay, guys? So your first order is market. So once you choose your target market, now you can go into your brand name. Once you choose your brand name, next, number 3 is your color palette. And again, sticking with your market, and we're talking about military. So for instance, say it was Soldier Moves. Maybe you want to go with Army Green, right? So maybe that's your color palette. There's ways of incorporating that. Maybe you decide to do Sailor Transport, so you can go with blue and white. It's a typical sailor transport colors. Now, say you didn't choose military as your market. Say you chose something else, like car enthusiasts, because at one point I tested that market as well. But because I'm not a car enthusiast, it didn't work out for me. Like, I got a lot of action from a lot of people that was moving their cars for car rallies, moving their car for car shows, things like that. It was a lot of traction. However, it just didn't work out because I didn't have anything in common with these people. But maybe you do. Maybe you love cars. You're like obsessed with cars. You're a car enthusiast to the core. You spend time at the Jackson auctions. You're always just watching the car auctions on TV. Maybe you watch rally racing or whatever. For me, I'm a Formula One girl, but maybe you're into that stuff, right? Then you can choose a color that may not necessarily, maybe there's no specific color for that. Like, okay, well, with Formula One, if I was doing it and I'm into Formula One, I don't know if you guys remember, there was a time when, if you've been following me for a while, Relogeek had the colors, certain colors. It was like a race car. Anyways, the point of that is because I was testing out market strategies and stuff, and I was really big into some type of racing things that I had going on, but I've since changed, obviously. However, with that being said, like, if there's no specific color palette, but for that, unless, like I said, like, okay, that's where I was getting, sorry guys, lost my train of thought. If you are in Formula One, like, say like you're like a Formula One fan like me, maybe you're a Ferrari fan and you can go with Ferrari red, you know? So you could choose a color that way. But let's say that you're just a car enthusiast and you like, I don't know, Chevy Camaros, you know, and there's no specific color. Well, I would say that there actually is. If you really think about Chevy Camaros, right? What was the first color that ever came out, right? Or maybe you're into rally car racing. What is the most popular color that you see in rally car racing, right? And that's how you can choose a color. And let's just say I'm going to play devil advocate and you say, well, Ashley, there is absolutely, my market has no specific color. I'm choosing whatever market. Garbage trucks. I don't know. There's green, but say there's no color. Then what I suggest you do is sit down and think about what color looks good on you. And this has always worked for me for various different businesses I've built over the years because I have color commitment issues, y'all. Yes, I have color commitment issues. It took me over a year to pick colors for my house, but we're not going to talk about that on this podcast because we're already almost 12 minutes in, and we're just barely halfway through. So really quick, the thing that works for me is I think of, if I had to market this brand and this brand only for the rest of eternity, what color do I not mind wearing? Chances are it might be black, but other than that, like, what color do I not mind wearing? And blue would be for me because blue always, everybody compliments how it looks amazing on me. So blue would definitely be one of those colors. And of course, yellow, because yellow just is like the sun. But maybe for you it's red. Maybe for you it's purple or green. Whatever that color is, then choose that. But remember, even colors have psychology behind it. They mean different things. Red means danger. Blue is calming. Green is earthy. Orange is energetic and it also increases appetite. Yellow is sunny and warm and optimistic, but can come across as childish. So all these colors have different meanings. So be very careful unless you're specifically going after a market. Like I said, using our example, army green, or blue and white for soldiers, it doesn't matter what the color symbolizes because the soldiers, sailors, Navy men are going to resonate with the blue and white. And likewise, the army green color, anybody that's in the army is going to naturally resonate with that color palette. So you don't have to worry about psychology there. But if your market doesn't have a specific color palette, just also think about not just choosing the color that resonates with you, choose a color that will resonate with them. And in the light of that, I have a quick story. So there was a time when I had switched markets in auto transport when I had my brokering business, and I had rebranded as Relogeek, and I was super excited about this new brand. It was revolutionary, right? So Relogeek, so at that time I was targeting specific kind of relocations, and I chose a pink color, I don't know if you guys remember, I had the shirt with the map pin on it, and it was pink and black, and that was my color palette. But what happened was that nobody knew is that I was getting a ton of traffic to my website, and I know this because, and you guys should be doing this, is setting up Google Analytics on your site. If you guys want me to do a video explaining how to do that, leave that in the comments below. That way I can know if that's something you're interested in. However, so I had this beautiful color, and I'm not a pink girl, but I put pink on the website because I was trying to be different. At that time, T-Mobile had this amazing commercial out about being different and all this stuff. So I had rebranded as Relogeek, and I was super excited. The problem was I was getting a lot of people to my site, and nobody really was filling out a quote form. And I was like, what is going on? And I remember asking one of my business coaches at the time, who knew nothing about auto transport, but gave me this advice. They went to my site, and it was a guy, and he said to me, he's like, Ashley, who's your market? And I told him who my market was, and he's like, and they're male, most of your clients? I said, yes. And he's like, and they're moving? And I was like, yes. And he's like, that's the disconnect. He said, I've moved before, and I'm a guy, and I'm your market, and honestly, moving is a stressful time. I go to your website and I see bright pink, I'm probably gonna click out of it, right? And I'm just like, really? Like, color is that important? And he was like, yes, try it, just try it and see what happens. It doesn't hurt. I mean, at this point, you're not getting any people like messaging you. You're getting the traffic, but you're not getting people messaging you. So I was like, okay, fine. I went through some different color palettes. I chose black, and then I finally landed on this like blue color, and it's like clockwork that I started getting quotes coming in, flowing in, and I'm just like, holy cow, color means that much. So I learned the hard way, guys, and that's why I'm trying to help you. If you're building your auto transport brand from the ground up, I'm trying to help you so you don't make that same mistake. Color is very important. Don't skimp on it. Again, you see what, like, the point is, it's how the person feels, and pink during that specific market was not making them people feel good. So, especially since my market usually tends to be male. I don't know, maybe because it's the tomboy in me. I have no idea. This girl it's always a male audience. I guess I never really gel with females. I always wanted to, but I mean, there's a couple of you girls out there. I know you guys hit me up and root me on, and I root you on, and it's great, but usually it's men, and maybe because I'm always in a male-dominated field. However, with moving in my niche, it was men, so the pink wasn't gelling. So with that being said, choose your color palette, and I know I spent a lot of time on color, and but it's very important. I just really want you guys to understand how important that is. All of these pieces are important, but color is a big part of it. So moving on, we have the market, we have the brand name. Number 3 was color palette. Number 4 is your logo. Yes, guys, finally it's time to do your logo. After you've taken those steps, now you can take that and hit up a designer. Whether you choose me to design your logo or you choose somebody else to design your logo, you need a designer, and you need to take your logo quite seriously. And what I mean that is, I am so sick, and I'm sorry guys, bitchy moment right now, excuse my language. I am so sick and tired of seeing a truck as a logo, or I keep seeing the Lamborghini-esque shield as a logo. That is not original. That is not unique. If you're building a brand, you want people to remember you, okay? And that's why you need to pick a market. That's why you need to choose a good brand name. That's why you need to choose a color palette to go with it. You want them to remember you. You're building, this is 2019, so you have to go the extra mile. It's not as simple as back in the day. Even before I started, back in the day, you could throw anything up there. Nobody really cared, but it's expected that you have a professional brand. So your logo, and it's going to sound contradictory, guys, but I'd rather see you just put basic text than for you to use a truck as your logo, because it is not, remember, if you're let's say you're in the military market, right? You can choose a font-based logo, a lettering-based logo with no design other than letters. But the key to it is choosing the right font for your market. So if you're catering to the military market, you're not going to want to choose a fancy cursive font. I'm sorry, military and that font do not go together. So choosing the right typography or the right font is just as important as choosing an icon, right? I would rather not see an icon, honestly. There's really no need for it. And logo font and font logos are the way to go. And I've done quite a few brands for people, and literally I don't do anything other than put a type of logo, but it matches their target market, which it goes back to number one. This is so important, guys. I can't emphasize this enough. Oh my goodness, we're about to be 20 minutes in. So choose your logo. Next, number 5 is your website. That is the words on your website. So it's still the same concept. You want to know how to make them feel, right? So your words are everything. And so many brokers I see either hire a designer or hire somebody that has no idea what they're doing, and they just copy words from other people's site and they throw it on their website. That is not what's going to make your website memorable. When people land on your website, you want them to think, oh my God, this person gets me. Oh my God, this person understands me. And the way that you do that is by putting yourself in your target market's shoes. You want to put yourself in their shoes and say, okay, if I am a military person and I'm moving because I'm constantly moving, what am I thinking? What questions am I asking? What's more important to me? And believe it or not, what's important to somebody that's moving for military is totally different than what's important to somebody that's shipping a car because they just bought one, or shipping a car because they're going to a car show. These are different. What matters to them is totally different. Yes, everybody want the basic. They want their car to get there in one piece, but I need you guys to go way deeper than that. We're not talking surface level stuff here, guys. This is very deep work. Like, in order to build an amazing brand in 2019, you need to go deep, go super deep with the people that you want to market to. So if I'm marketing to military, I'm gonna think like, okay, these people probably have moved before, and if they're a young military person and they just got into the military and this is their first time moving, then they're gonna have a little bit of different questions. So I would break my website up into pieces. I would have a special section for people that have moved before with questions about what they're asking me as a company, versus a FAQ section or a page dedicated on my website to people who haven't moved and they just got into the military. And words are so important. I'd say things like, hey, are you newly enlisted and looking to transport your vehicle because you just got your base that you're going to be stationed at? And if so, then let me tell you how to go about moving your vehicle in the right way so that you don't make the mistakes that most people make during military moves, or something to that effect. Now, that was off the top of my head, but that's literally me putting myself in shoes. I have at the time, she was a really good friend of mine, and she enlisted into the Air Force, and she went to her base, and she went to her boot camp in San Antonio, Texas, and then she got her first assignment, and her first assignment was in Germany. So she had a vehicle, and she had to decide whether or not she should bring her car with her or leave it here. That is something that's worth mentioning as an auto transport broker. And you might be thinking, well, why would I suggest to somebody that they leave their car? Well, if you become a reliable source, they may not use you because they may decide, okay, you know what? These people are right. They know that, they've been moving soldiers' cars for however many years. So let me just trust in them. Let me leave the car because whatever, maybe Germany has emission standards, or because the vehicle is on the wrong side of the road, or that specific vehicle is not up to their quality control, or whatever it is, right? And you're providing this information to them. Then when they do leave Germany, maybe they bought a car over there and they're trying to ship it to another place, or maybe they have friends that are going through, because military people stick together, so they form their little cliques. They say, hey, you know what, I know this website, Soldier Moves. If you go to soldiermoves.com, they talk all about shipping cars, and this is what they do. And you will become that go-to source for people who are moving for the military, or whatever your target audience is. You become that go-to source. So the words or the website copy on your site are so important, and you guys skimp on it so much. But again, you guys come to me and say, Ashley, I'm not making any sales. Ashley, nothing's happening for me. Why is this? And I'm about to close my doors. You know how many people have came to me and told me that they had to close their brokerage? It's because they're not building a brand. That's what's required of you in 2019. There's no excuse for that. Okay, so the last thing, look like we're going to reach 30 minutes. It's 24 minutes right now. But the last thing, number 6, is your website design. We spoke lastly about the website copy. The final thing is your website design. Now, you're supposed to do your design after you write the words for your website, and some of you guys might be wondering why, and it's because you design around the words. You don't write words to fit the design, because the words are the most important thing. Yes, I design websites, and of course I'm good. Like, naturally you would think, well, why would you tell me that that's not more important than the words? Well, because I am also a copywriter. A copywriter is somebody that writes, okay? And I could tell you from experience, in the many, many years of experience, over a decade of experience I have in copywriting, that words are everything. And being able to put yourself in people's shoes, number 5, website copy, and writing stuff that resonates with your specific audience, having them say, oh my God, this person gets me, is more important than the website design. But the website design is part of your brand, so don't skimp on that either. But I can say that you can have a pretty crappy website that looks legit but just not well designed, but the words on it means everything, and you could kind of sort of get away with that. So that's why website design is number 6. So but if you guys need your website design, my fee is not cheap. It's quite expensive according to certain people in auto transport, because you guys are not used to that. But in the web design field, my fee is super cheap. Most websites run for $3,500 to $7,000 for people to build you a website that are not auto transport specific. But I charge currently $1,200. So, and that price can change depending on when you're listening to this podcast. But if you're interested in getting your website designed by me, head on over to relogeek.com/shop, and you can find a website design and my samples of the work I've done over there in my portfolio there. Again, I'll leave the link in the description below for that. And likewise, if you want me to write the words on your site, I don't have any pricing up for that, but I have been getting a lot of requests for that. So if that's something you guys are interested in, I could add that service. I usually only do it for people that I'm building a website for, which is not included in the website design. However, I usually do that as as just because I just want you guys to succeed so bad. So I usually just throw that in. But it's not included. Website design is just website design, just FYI. So with that being said, those are your 6 keys to building a brand in 2019. Listen, guys, I know this was a lot of information, and I hope you guys took notes, lots and lots of notes. But let's go back over this real quick, and then we can get you guys out of here. If you want to cut this off now, you can. But I'm just going to quickly go back over it. Number 1 is choose your target market. 2, you choose your brand name. 3, you choose your color palette. We spoke about number 4, which is your logo. We went in length about color palette and logo. Number 5 is your website copy. That's the words on your site. It's very, very important. And number 6 is your website design. And again, like I said, guys, there's different elements that you also should have on your website. But this is just my quick list. If you guys want me to go more in depth on these topics or break any one of these down, also leave that in the comments below. Let me know, because then if you want me to talk more about target market, I can make a video about that. Brand name, like choosing your business name and stuff. In Relo Academy, if you join the first class package, I give you target market ideas, a bunch of them to choose from. I also give you, I believe there's brand names in there. I give so much stuff in the first class package, from, calling scripts to extra training and all this other stuff. There's so much jam-packed stuff in the first class package. That's why it's the most popular one. It's not cheap by any means, but it's the most popular because it's the most beneficial. And again, I'll leave that link below. But if you guys want me to go in more in depth in any of these 6 steps, leave it below, and I will see what I can do to make a podcast about that. Oh my goodness, 30 minutes later, you've made it all the way to the end. And as promised, I got a special coupon code for you because you are a rock star. So if you use the code ROCKSTAR50 at checkout, you will get $50 off any of the packages in Relo Academy. So use the code ROCKSTAR50. Now, this coupon code is going to expire this Friday, the 20th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern time, so make sure you use it before then. And if you're listening to this long after then, I'm so sorry, but make sure you click that button to subscribe to the channel, click the notification button so you can be updated when I do post videos, and make sure you watch them on the first day, just in case I add little surprises like this, you won't miss out. Thank you for listening. Make sure you subscribe and share if you found this helpful. I'm Ashley from Relogeek.com. Now get out there and make moves happen. I'll talk to you guys in the next podcast or video.